Chapter 1, Telemachus. Hope you all survived the first 20 pages of Ulysses. I thought it might be useful to go through each chapter just so that we can all stop at the end of each chapter and make sure we're all hanging on and we've all got the grasp of what's happening, and ask questions if we don't know what the fuck's going on. One thing I found, and I'll post a link in the comments, is was great, was like Chris Rich's videos on YouTube. He's done a chapter by chapter guide, and they are really great for if you sort of lose your way through Ulysses. It's really great to keep you on the straight and narrow, because I've always said that kind of reading Ulysses is like being in a playground. So you're there swinging off the bars, you're going down the slide, having fun, enjoying the book, and then all of a sudden, you fall off and you haven't got a clue what's going on. And sometimes you need a friendly hand to like pull you back on there and just say, look, it's all right, this is what's happening, you know, and then set you off again. And that's what Chris's videos did for me. So, and hopefully that's what, you know, these posts will do for us as well. We'll cling on to fucking together for dear life, because this is a book worth, you know, worth sticking with. So the first chapter, I thought, like, we'll just go through it really briefly. Chris's video is probably much better than this one is going to be, so I'm not going to go make it long-winded, but I'll just point a few things out. So in this chapter, we are introduced to the main character, who's called Stephen Dedalus, right? And we will be following Stephen's journey throughout this book, Ulysses, for the next 24 hours. So all these pages here are 24 hours in the life of two main characters. But the first one we meet in this chapter is called Stephen Dedalus. Now, what's a bit confusing in this chapter is that he's also referred to as Finch. So that's the nickname of Stephen Dedalus by his mate Buck Mulligan. So if you hear Buck Mulligan talk about Finch, he's actually talking to Stephen. They're one in the same person. So that's maybe a good point to say. So from what I get out of the story here in chapter 1 is there's three mates who are like living together. There's Buck Mulligan, Stephen Dedalus, and they've got a friend staying with them who's called Haynes, right? And all three of the book opens with them waking up together in a Martello tower, which is a bit of a bizarre place to live, but it seems pretty cool. And Buck Mulligan gets up and has a shave and says to Stephen, you know, get out of bed. And it's basically just documenting the morning routine of three blokes getting up in the morning, getting ready. There are some things that you learn about the character of Stephen in this first chapter. And one of them is that his mum has died. And that's quite interesting, because his mate Buck Mulligan has a bit of a go at him and teases him and says that, you know, when your mum on a deathbed asked you to pray for her and go down on your knees, you wouldn't do that. And it feels that Stephen's got a bit of guilt there, really, that's what he didn't do that when his mum asked him to. So that's the theme. And Stephen's wearing black as well, you know, in the first chapter. So he's mourning for his mum. Then halfway through the chapter, the milk woman arrives with cream and milk and stuff, and she sits down and chats to them. And you learn a little bit more about her. And generally, I think in the first chapter, I'm just going through it again. Those are the main things that happen. It's just a very slow start. It's three blokes getting ready to go out. They leave the tower. They say, oh, well, we'll meet up in the pub again later. This house guest, Haynes, has been a bit of a nightmare. He's got up in the night and said there was a Black Panther, you know, strolling around in the night, and got a gun out. And like Stephen's saying, he's a bloody nightmare. I'm not staying another night in the house with him. But generally, I think you should all understand this chapter. I'm hoping. Not all of it. I mean, there's some Latin shit in there that I don't understand. I'm reading through that. Maybe I'm going to get a different book, like an accompanying guide, and so I can understand all the Greek and Latin references on my third time round of reading it, but not for this. So let's see what you think. Tell me in the comments. Are you struggling with anything? What did you think of the first chapter? yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about chapter 1. Let's see what you've got to say.